welcome back to the 2021 World Chess Championship. We're going to be taking a look at Game 10. And I got to say, if I was in the boss's position right now with white pieces, 3 points up in a World Championship, with not too many games to go, and I knew my opponent's game plan, I would be doing the same thing that he's doing. Let's just close out the match, end the bleeding for our opponent, and get this done. Retain the title for another couple years. So let's see what's different and interesting about this game. Well, we get back to the Petroff, which in and of itself, I have absolutely no problem with the Petroff. And we get this interesting sideline with knight d3. And by interesting, I mean extremely solid and drawish. A little bit of surprise value, but not much wiggle room for black to attempt to win. I mean, Magnus is potentially hoping for some more free rating points if his opponent wants to attempt something like h5, which we saw in a previous game from this type of structure. Queen e2, queen e7, and a little bit different, knight f4, with the idea of going knight d5, so need to stop that. And this is a mutually detrimental relationship. And I always love to point these out in chess. Neither side wants to capture. At some point, black typically has to capture because of white's extra move, being able to place pressure in some way. But as soon as black captures, we capture back with the bishop, which in effect develops another piece. So d4, knight c6. We need to worry about the d pawn, so very simple. And here is the only moment in the game where if black wanted to try to press or attempt to do anything other than make a draw, this is a time. And d5 was played in the main game. Nothing wrong with it. g5 is interesting, where, for instance, takes, knight e2, knight d5. Knight g3 was played in a game from 2019 with Hari Krishna, but I believe g3 is a pretty straightforward improvement, just depriving black of the f4 square. And there's just a little bit of an imbalance to work with. But overall, we have an exchange French pawn structure as soon as d5 is played. And unlike the cool exchange French that you get when playing Master of the French Defense in my Chessable course, where I'm making sure that black always has some sort of imbalance or something to play for, you really just don't have anything in this position. And the objective here, which we're going to see the boss do without too much difficulty, I want to trade my bad bishop for your good one. That might give you a little something, but understand why it's the bad bishop. In the event that we trade off all of the highlighted pieces, we just take them off the board. Our bishop will always be able to attack the weakness on d5. His bishop can only ever defend the weakness on d5. You cannot win by simply defending. So those types of endgames are dream endgames for us. Castle, castle, bishop d3. And of course, we have no problem ever with them taking here, as it's simply going to develop our bishop. And we have an imbalance to work with. We have the bishop pair. Rook e8, rook e1, grab, grab, knight e6. All right, let's trade some. And how are we going to get rid of our bad bishop? g3, knight g2. And before bishop f4, I don't want to deal with any types of discoveries or any back rank problems. None of that. Simply f3. Controlling all the key squares. No entry points. No fear. No problems. Knight h5. All right, king f2. No sacrifices. No potential of any funny business. No rook coming in. g4, go away. And finally, bishop f4. Would you like to trade your good bishop for my bad bishop? Not much of a choice. g5. Now, I think a lot of people go, all right, we're just making a draw. Let's go ahead and keep chopping wood. No, that's a bad bishop. I don't want that. Typically, if you're going to win this type of position, you want to trade the bishop for the knight here. And if he has the bad bishop remaining, you have excellent winning chances in this ending. So that's about the only way that you could get a decisive result out of this. But both players understand this type of principle, and not much with the symmetrical pawn structure. This definitely isn't favorable for white with a bishop on the same color. These are potential targets. So after rook h1, we see f4, and this liquidation pretty much guarantees the draw. And after takes, and with the symmetrical pawn structure and completely equal piece play, we see peace quite quickly here. Magnus tries for one last trick. You know, he'd love to play rook d7 mate, but understandably after king e3 on move 41, with lots of extra time to think, the players agree to a draw. And I think that mostly for the challenger, this is I have black, I learned my lesson, I'm not going to try to press from equalish positions with black, because he needs to get his bearings, especially after the absolutely terrible blunder yesterday with c5. So I think he's about to go hard in the next game, trying to get some points on the board. And I really hope we've got some fireworks and some interest, because I'd love to do longer videos for all these. But I'll be frank, if the game just doesn't interest me and it's just kind of blah, and they make a draw in this way, there's not much to say. This is pretty straightforward stuff. So you got to have imbalances to have interest in chess. And I expect in this next game, you're going to see the challenger try to surprise and go after the boss. And I think it's probably going to be the most interesting game of the match. You heard it here first. I'm extremely hopeful in the 2021 World Chess Championship.